Hey, good evening. I thought I would come onto YouTube and have a talk today about what it was like to be thought of it as weird at school. I had some horns grow out of my head after I'd been through a ritual. It was all of us. It was kids who was doing it. I was 12, and I think I've already mentioned this in a previous video, but I'll just recap it quickly. And I sold my soul, and I was hearing voices and having hallucinations, and people saw horns growing out of my head. And when I got home I saw them come out of my mum's head. And subsequently, the dead start to interfere with our lives. And what I wanted to bring light to tonight was come up in conversation today with somebody I was talking to about how my DNA was used by people who thought that they could use my bloodline in magic somehow. For whatever reason, I don't know how these cults or these I don't know how any of it works. I mean, I wasn't brought up in it. I wasn't even brought up in a religious family. It was just working class people doing working class stuff. Dad got a bit dodgy. Mum got a bit dodgy later on too. But by that time, I was long gone. So it's a one. When I was 12. Some of my sperm got taken. They made a baby with it for whatever reason, because when I believed I had a soul, when I believed in magic, like a brass coin appeared in kid at school's hand. He later asked me if I believed it was my soul. I said, "Oh, it must be, I can see it." And then he asked me later on again if I wanted to sell my soul, which I said, "How do you do that?" He said, "Take that as a yes." And it went on from there to trusting him with my soul and repeating some words after him, which I thought I was saying something backwards. And it sort of fitted together for me because the drama room that we were in had a reel-to-reel tape, and I had worked out that when you say something's forwards, when you record it forwards, it sounds like something else backwards. And it was weird, it was funny, and it had us all in stitches because we used to go in the drama room and smoke because the teacher there used to he used to smoke a pipe. Anyway, the point what I'm trying to get to is what it's like to have this done to you, and what it's like for those kids who are brought into the world with your DNA, who've got no idea about what it is that people want with their bloodline, or what people want with our bodies, you know. And the impact that has on not just on my life, because I felt a bit violated just through that having happened, and then to think that an innocent life has been complicated by this cult belief about being able to have heaven, be in control of who's going to heaven, or being in heaven, or getting to heaven, and all it really is it was an initiation cult that I went, an initiation ritual that I went through to basically suck me in to a load of bullshit that was going to sabotage my life and my will to live, which it pretty much did that anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much what it does. And the people that use these kind of Teresa's respects to Aleister Crowley and Freemasons ultimately. Yeah, they're pretty cunning about what they do to people who may be curious about their cult, and yeah, get sucked right in and basically fleece them while they believed in a load of lies, as has been proven in some cult rituals that they'll seen on YouTube here. The people have had like chicken guts, and they get involved in a ritual, and they have a hallucinogens before the ritual, and they're all off their heads, and they think what they're seeing is actually real when nobody's actually seriously been hurt, and people aren't eating fetuses or tearing out fucking people's hearts or anything like that. But that's not that can't happen or doesn't happen. I mean, who really knows? I've never seen it. But I do not put it past my imagination for people to go to those levels to suck people in and get them fooled, and for these pricks to scam money out of them to keep for the cult. Whatever they do, I don't know. But yeah, to think that this has happened to me 3 times. People what I've tried to talk to about it, and I know they know, they wouldn't tell me anything about it. They haven't actually come out and told me, because they know that I will go straight to an authority and I will tell them exactly what has happened to me, and how these kids have been brought up, and what it is they believe, or what they see as their place in it. I really don't know. I don't want to go dropping names and all that, because it must be, and maybe it's embarrassing for them to think that they were brought into the world the way they were, and for the reasons that they were brought into this world. I don't know if they know that. They're all pretty much alien to me, which, well, they're all pretty much nothing to do with me. I do know one of them thinks that I knew, and her mother forged a birth certificate with my name on it, and yeah, I never knew anything about it. But later on, there was some paperwork I had to sign. It was just a wholly bad thing to go through for people that you grew up with, and who basically who fed you, brought you up from when you was a toddler. You was handed into these people's arms who could actually do this kind of heinous things to an innocent life. I mean, not so much me, but to them. Yeah, but way I understand it, it's because this brass coin, as it's coined in the Bible, is something that was donated to Jesus by an old widow. And he says this brass coin is worth more than any of you could have been able to put in here, because it's come from somebody who had nothing more than a brass coin to give. And it sort of dawned on me that all these golden associations that people have tried to make from a valuable image is just nothing but a brass coin that belongs to Jesus. It's a pretty powerful, the word in the Bible, and what Jesus has done. As I took the place of a lamb through these rituals, and like a lion leapt out of the darkness and came to me and took me into his belly, so to speak. And before I come out the other end of the ritual, and where everything was, they were sure that I was okay, no problem. I went on, but ever since I found that these cults that basically got into my family and twisted everybody's heads up and destroyed it. But the love that we have for each other is stronger than that. even though my family won't talk about these sorts of things openly, it's probably a wise idea that they don't, because these cults really do human sacrifices, like a needle stick from an AIDS needle is probably nothing. That's probably just like, oh yeah, that's not a problem. They can sort one of the mouths out of that, which is what I am. I am keeping nothing quiet. There's no need for me to shut up about anything. And it's important for everyone to know that, mate, people have taken everything that was ever going to be. The people closest to me made sure that there were people have taken the most important things that I could ever have found in life to do with my life. They've taken that away through trusting these cults with my bloodline. It's worthless. My bloodline's worthless. We've got no money. We've got nothing. We are nothing. We're not influential people. Most of us are on one family that I know that talks to me is that we're all pretty much useless people who's ended up as invalids. And most of us are getting old now. That's probably more the point, but that's not to say that we don't try and that we don't work hard when we have to or when we do. But it's just wanted to put this video on so that people could reflect on it in the future, maybe, about what happens when you're roped into a cult, so to speak. And they've gone to some pretty low levels to try and implicate me and complicate my life with different influences that have tried to place over it, or that they have been successful in placing over it for a time. And yeah, it's a good thing that I can get this on video for people's future reference if they need to know. Well, probably sure that my neighbours around here, they're not really happy about having to have a person like me as a neighbour, but I do try to be a good neighbour, I know. But yeah, it's pretty hard for some people to be able to relate to this psychiatric hospital that we've got around this place. It should be like lately there's been a lot of banging. Somebody slams doors. Bang! 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 I said, oh, what the hell's going on? I said, oh, bang, oh, somebody's doing it. And the people across the road, they're lovely old people. People directly across the road from the person that's doing it. They were out tidying their yard up yesterday, or on Sunday, I should say, Tuesday today. But they were over there doing it, and I wouldn't mind betting that they've just thought to themselves, we've got to get out of here because one of those psychos is going to come across the road and kill us. They're all mad, and nothing seems to get done about it. So yeah, it's there were some other flats up the road, which was pretty much similar story. More murder flats. There was murders up there and rapes in the dark, but this block seems to be okay for the time being. But they've taken all the trees down. They've taken all the buildings and corners and nooks and crannies where anybody could have been hiding in. They've taken all that down, and to try and make it a safe and environment around here where we haven't had foyer lights for over 6 months. It's pretty pathetic, really. But the government's budget hasn't allowed for them to be able to finish the work, or they haven't been able to go on to the next stage of the development. They sort of left us halfway through everything because they went past their budget, I think. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video and that it's been informative for you. And leave any comments. And if you have been troubled by anything what I've said, and it's brought to light some of your memories, because I know that sometimes these things you don't remember these things till you start talking about them, or you hear other people talking about them, is to phone Lifeline. It's, I'm not sure what the number is for Lifeline, but I'm sure if you ask Google, she'll know, or Siri, or whatever smartphone you got. Well, failing that, yeah, it's important to talk about things, even if they're in, as I say with schizophrenia, that you invent memories, and that our minds create an alternative reality. So there's always that option too for people who's listening to make that decision for themselves about what I've been talking about. So it's a good choice for you, for me to offer you a choice, because it's pretty traumatic, you know, rituals and destructive people having control of kids. It's like, you know, it's pretty traumatic. So I think it's good that you can just say, Donnie's off his nuts. Uncle Don, you're crazy, and everything you've talked about is just figment of your imagination. Maybe you could send me some medication. But seriously, when you have to try and talk to a psychiatrist about these things, it's not so much that they don't believe us. The point is that how we react to what's happened. Because there's obviously, I'm not the only person who's been involved in cult rituals and cult whatever the thing is, what they're doing for these cults or satanic rituals or religions or whatever they've got. There's other people who's been through it too, and the important thing for us to do is to offer people a choice, to say, okay, no, you're crazy, mate. And that's it. If that's what helps you to overcome this, and for you to believe in and have faith in your community and your government and your church, whatever, then by all means, yeah, I'm crazy, I accept it. It's okay. And if you ever get the opportunity to witness any of these weird goings on within culture, don't be scared to speak up and talk about it and get it out in the open. Even if you were tripping up off your head on mushies or LSD or whatever it was, so you can talk to people about what it was that you saw and what it was that you did, or whatever it was the influences were. It's important that you can talk about that. And a lot of the time, the shrinks gets annoyed with medicates us, and say the shrink gets annoyed. The shrink probably doesn't really get annoyed with his patients, but what they want to give us medication for is because of the way we react to what has happened to us. If we react violently when people call us, say, oh, that might not have happened. If we're going to react violently and say, look, you know nothing, that did happen. You can't tell me that didn't happen. You weren't there. You're the one who's living in a delusion. I'm not crazy. And as soon as you start doing that, it's like you're becoming aggressive. You're becoming unmanageable. You're becoming emotional. And a lot of the times, when people become violent, it's because they have because they're emotional. Emotions have taken over in their mind, and they're just acting on their heart. Well, it's just like, you can't tell me I'm a liar. And nobody likes to think that people think they're a liar when they're telling the truth. And I mean, it's one of the anguish things. It's one of the things that brings up an anguish in our hearts, is when they want us to strive for the truth so badly that we become emotional about it, and also self-destructive. Then these cults are pretty cluey about making us self-destructive, and we need to get on top of it. and say, okay, offer people a way out. You know? So it's okay. Yeah, I'm crazy. It's all right. Yeah, I know we have invented memories and all this. You can read all about it. They've got tons of books on it, psychiatry, psychology, tons of books on it, and they've already the foundation is already there for people to have these assumptions, and we should encourage them to have them if that's where the way they want to go. They're telling us they can't believe that that happens in the world because they've never seen it. They wouldn't even fathom, they wouldn't even think that that could even happen anywhere in the world. So well, it's important that we don't poison them as victims of these situations, that we don't poison their association with the world, you know. There's so much we can read into it if we want to that's unfair, and the whole foundation for civilization could be based on being unfair to somebody somewhere, so that you don't have to do it. But what good does it do to have a huge rebellion where everybody's killing each other because somebody's not right? It's like, well, if somebody is not right, they should make the choice. Oh, what I've been doing isn't being right. I would like to make the choice to do the right thing because why? Because I want to. It's really life changing when you want to do the right thing for the right reason, because you just want to. It's like stopping smoking. If you want to stop smoking, I mean, you genuinely want to stop smoking, you can genuinely do it. There's nothing stopping you. But a lot of the times you go, yeah, I'm smoke, I want to have a smoke. You know, you get depressed, there's nothing, you're going to die of something anyway. But I never used to, smoking was okay, I didn't mind smoking. I hated the poverty that went with it. And that's one of the side effects. The side effects from that. It's like having some speed or coke or when you've got to come down off that. Coming down off that was like off that high was the thing. And it's the same with cigarettes. I think when you've got no smokes, you're coming down off the nicotine. It's not a hard drug word, but it's just as addictive. So anyway, Uncle Donny said enough. 20 minutes. It's probably 5 minutes too long. And from me, and I keep thinking Satan's on my right side, but he's not. He's on my left. He's on my left. From me and from Satan, you can see his neck sideways. I don't know why his neck now sideways like that, but he has. Unfortunately, he's crying. Time to go. Have a good night, and catch up with you next time.